Motivation to work it. Motivation to work it. Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 116. It is the second day of the week, aka the Quadzilla workout. I'm on my way to the gym right now, and I am going to join up my buddy Walter, who is probably already there, knowing him. He is joined the gym along with my other friend James, who has not gone yet, but we're gonna get him to go. We're gonna get him to go because we have to get him to go. We cannot allow him to only go once and then waste all of that money. We will have to get him to go again. But speaking about that, that's what today's subject matter is about. Motivation. Why motivation? Well, because this came up and I was like, I wonder what would motivate this guy. You know what I mean? And then I thought about what motivates me, and then I thought about a bunch of other stuff, and I was like, this could be a good topic, conversation topic for today. So, motivation is today's topic. So, before I get into like what motivates me, all that other stuff, blah, 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 I want to say this. Motivation is good. It is probably underrated, honestly, but there is a limit to it. If you listen to it too much or do too many things that are, quote, motivating without actually doing anything, you're gonna end up in a weird, like, perpetual state of never really doing anything because you're just motivating yourself into doing something, but you never actually start doing anything. It's like you're motivating to motivate yourself, if that makes any sense. It's like you get caught into an infinite loop, which can happen. Sometimes that happens with other things as well. So, for example, people will watch lifting content and it is as if they have lifted for the day, you know, stuff like that. It's the entire idea of living vicariously through somebody else, but it's weird. It's a little different because in this feedback loop, you're basically like, you're just motivated to do something, but you never really start, and that's the end game, is really starting. But we'll probably get into in the voiceover. But I want to preface this entire subject matter with the idea that you have to be careful about motivation because you can use it sometimes to get you through certain things. I'm not going to be one to say you can't. In fact, it can be very useful. But the thing is, you have to act upon the motivation in order to make it successful. You have to be careful of that. While I know, like, I can see how in the past I've used it to just kind of go into an endless loop of not really starting, but just continue on watching like a bunch of like motivational videos and shit like that. You know, the entire like David Goggins motivational video, 7 minutes long, of him saying like, who's gonna carry the boats? Who's gonna carry the boats? You know, that type of shit, which is fine. But, you know, watching that at like 7 in the morning and then going immediately after to eat your breakfast is kind of like, why did I listen to this? You know, I wouldn't say there are levels to it, but it's definitely something that, if used correctly, can be great. But if used incorrectly, is just a way of just kind of like keeping yourself down in a weird way. But speaking about motivation in general, I think it's good. I think most people should be motivated by something to do something. It's just the second half that needs to be done, you know? I was motivated at the beginning of this. Well, actually, we'll get into details about motivations on the inside, personal stuff and all that other jazz. But it's just something to be aware about when I talk about this subject matter in general. I'd rather discuss that now rather than later. But with that being said, I will see you on the inside.
All right, so start this day off with pause squats. Let me start with motivation as defined by, let's go with Google here, which gets it from Oxford Languages. The reason or reasons one has for acting or behaving in a particular way. The general desire or willingness of someone to do something, you know? So there you go. I think for this, I will go into more detail as to what makes me personally motivated. I think I'll get into that and then maybe some things flip it around. But I think when it comes to motivation in general, I think people use it a lot. A lot of the time, for some reason, when people, it comes up, it's always at night for some reason. It's like, yeah, I'm going to be motivated for some weird reason. It always happens at night. I don't know why. There is probably something to it psychologically about it. Maybe you realized how much of the day that has gone by that you could have used for something else, something along those lines. Who knows? I'd have to actually figure it out, maybe read about it, because that is an interesting phenomenon, because it does happen to a lot of people. It used to happen to me all the time, actually. So that was something that I had to be aware of. But as I've gone older and a little bit better at figuring out what my motivations for life are, it has been a little bit better for me so that I'm not using it at the worst possible time at night when I'm about to go to sleep, you know, or in bed, because that happens a lot as well. I've heard people watching those videos at night. But speaking about that, so what motivates me? I think there are a few things that motivate me, but the big two things that I always see that always make me want to go like, yes, I'm in it. I'm fucking in it. I'm in it to win it. That type of stuff is usually a picture of my old self, because of when I look at my old self, I'm like, Jesus, man, you were that big. Thank God you're not that big anymore. You know, it's a nice visual reminder of where I was before, and a place to see where I've come to. You know, seeing those things really do keep motivating me to keep going and not to fuck up nearly as much as I possibly could. You know, it is a nice reminder. Another thing that motivates me, honestly, is the picture of Goku, because that is what my dream body is, as I described it in another video. It's the Super Saiyan 1 Goku from Cooler's Revenge, so that is the particular one that I'm talking about. But that is something that I see it and I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta hit the gym. Like, you know, every time I see it, I'm instantly in action for wanting to get better for myself. And I think 90% of it is trying to find what motivates you personally. These are two things that help me go to my past, and I can see what my past was like, and then from there I can see what I want my future to look like, you know? So it is one direction and the other. I don't necessarily say everybody should have the same thing, because some people have different things that motivate them, whether it be something as simple as a song or a video or a picture or the number in their bank account. You know, there's a lot of different things that can be very motivating, you know, but I think it's just finding whatever the hell that one thing is and making it so it pushes you to go do something and making sure that you remember it. There are people like who open like businesses who put like frame their first dollar that they earn, you know, things like that, where it kind of reminds you of, I want to say humble beginnings, but it reminds you of where you want to go and why you want to be doing what you're doing, you know? I think everybody has to find their own thing, you know? I want to get my friend James to come here, but I'm going to have to find something motivating for him to come here besides literal kidnapping, but that's just a crime, but also it's not going to be very useful for him at the end of the day, because then he might not even stick around. It might be motivation for what, like maybe 1 or 2 sessions, until eventually he's like, all right, fuck this, or he can find a way out of it, which will just backfire in its entirety. That's the other thing about motivation, is that motivation, although great and can be very useful for certain days or certain events when you're not feeling it, it's only a short-term fix for a long-term thing. So when I'm feeling demotivated to go to the gym, maybe make some of these videos or whatever, I look at these things for a brief boost in like, oh fuck, I need to do this type of deal. But the people who become over-reliant on it, you're gonna have a lot of issues with consistency, which will make it so at the end of the day, you're not gonna really establish any habits or anything like that, which eventually, as time progresses, you want less and less, you want less and less motivational things, and you just want to rely on discipline. But that does take time, and it's an effort-based thing, so it's not necessarily like you're gonna get it immediately. You know, even after 2 years of going to the gym, every once in a while it is tough to just be like, fuck, like I'm gonna go no matter what. Like, there are days where I just want to stay home and sleep. It does happen, but it is because of the consistency I've had so far, the changes I've seen, and knowing where I've become. A small little motivator every once in a while, you know, a picture of Goku will make me be like, all right, what the fuck am I talking about here? Go to the gym, you know? And it's really just about finding whatever the hell that is for you personally, and for whatever goal you have. I always think back to, when talking about motivation, I always think back to the one episode from The Simpsons where they're explaining, I believe it's Maggie's birth, if I remember correctly, and Homer finally gets his dream job at the bowling alley after Bart and Lisa were born, but then Maggie comes into play. So because of that, he ends up having to go work at the power plant again. And then they have the entire Do It For Her board, which is supposed to be his motivation for doing his job. And just so he knows that he'll always see it no matter what, is that the reason why he is there is for her and not for anybody else. So It makes total sense to have something like that in your life, whether it be like a poster or whatever in front of you, but it is something to keep you reminding yourself of what you're trying to aim for. And I think everybody should have something like that. So the entire message I would say for this entire video would be find whatever motivates you and stick to it. Have it somewhere where you can see it all the time.
Motivate, terminate. And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed. None. Exercises skipped. Also none. Got everything in today. I am on my way to buy a couple of things at the grocery store, then go home and do some other stuff. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. Motivation. I think I've probably already talked about motivation in the voiceover in the what motivates me department, but it is important to remember those things and to look at them and to always have them. I think there is something to be said about looking at whatever motivates you, whether it be a picture or a video or something along those lines, to help you figure out what is important to you and what also can keep you going. You know what I mean? Whether it's something as simple as a simple video that you like a lot and you just like to watch it all the time and it gets you going, just having your thing to motivate you there at all times is nice, but you don't overdo it. Obviously you don't want to overdo it or else you're going to be in a little bit of a pickle. That can happen. But just remember that when you have those moments where you're down and you want some motivation, to actually use it to jump yourself off into doing something. Thoughts without action is just mental masturbation. So be careful of falling into that trap and thus making it so you don't really actually do anything. It doesn't matter even if it's small what you do, but as long as you start the process, one step forward will get you farther than no steps further, or even the thought of a step further. Sometimes the thought makes you feel like you've done something, while even just doing a half step will get you something. But still, it is better to start today on something rather than tomorrow. Shout out to my boy Walter, seeing him again here at the gym. Nice to see him. The other boy we have to get into. We have to get his ass and get him to come to the gym because he's being unmotivated, I feel. But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe send him a few pictures of Cloud Strife or something like that. I think he'd probably enjoy that. Or maybe like an AI generated voiceover thing of Final Fantasy VII characters or something along those lines. Maybe we'll figure it out. But with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about motivation. What motivates you? Is there anything particular that motivates you? Is there a video that motivates you? Is there something that you just say to yourself that motivates you? There are things like that. What are they called? Affirmations technically can be motivating depending. So please let me know in the comments below. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions about that and or anything else I've talked about in this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Stay motivated. Keep it heavy. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.